thought that was a brilliant way of illustrating it, this whole idea of a cosmic chess match. These are the two main players on the board, as far as I'm concerned, Nimrod and Abraham. And of course, you have the Tower of Babel. Nimrod creates the Tower of Babel, and we see in Genesis 11 that the whole earth was of one language. They're all gathered together in the plains of Shinar, and they're building this thing. And it says in King James, let us build a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And it says that God comes down there, he checks out what they're doing. He gets upset about it, and he makes a statement. He says, nothing will be restrained from that which they have imagined to do. That's an extraordinary statement. He's not just saying, oh no, they know how to build buildings. That's scary. If you get into what they had actually imagined to do, and we will in a second here, you can understand why God did what he did. Now, part of what they intended to do was kill God, which I don't believe is possible. Not possible to kill God, but the other things that they intended to do, his statement right there seems to imply that it was at least theoretically possible for them to do so. Now, if you've listened to any of my previous teachings prior to about 2.5 years ago, regarding the Tower of Babel, I always said it was not about height, right? I said, you know, if it was really about height, if you're trying to build a tall tower to get into, and, you know, start on a mountain or something, you don't build it in the plains. I mean, duh, that'd be stupid, right? So therefore, it must be a Stargate. Right? They're trying to rend the veil, you know, they're creating a Stargate so they can go from this realm and go through the Stargate and get into heaven. And there are a lot of people out there still teaching that. I taught it and was pretty passionate about it. And then it's just like this, you know, walking in Torah. Before we should have, like, you know, BT before Christ, but before Torah, BT, right? In my BT life, you know, there's so many things that we read right past, read right over. I've even underlined and annotated stuff and didn't get it. And then, you know, after Torah, I look at it and go, wow, how did I miss that? You know, well, I mean, it's the same thing with some of this other stuff that I'm looking at here. And I've even published the book. I got Jubilees back there and some of these other ones. And I look in these things for more detail about the Tower of Babel and see things like this. And they built it 43 years they were building it. And it also says there's about 600,000 men at the time. So there's a pretty decent population. Its breadth was 203 bricks, and the height of a brick was a third of one. Its height amounted to 5,433 cubits and 2 palms. The extent of one wall was 13 stades, and of the other 30 in Jubilees 10:21. Note, 5,433 cubits equals 8,150 feet. Another guy I stumbled across, his research, Alfred Edersheim, wrote a book, Bible History, Old Testament, chapter 8. He says, of the magnificence of Babel, the capital of the empire of Nimrod, the mighty hunter, it is difficult to convey an adequate conception without entering into details foreign to our purpose. But some idea of it may be formed from its extent, which according to the lowest computation covered no less than 100 square miles. We're talking the base of the tower, while the highest computation would make it over 200 square miles. Well, now all of a sudden I'm going, well, no wonder they built it in the plains of Shinar. They needed a big enough space to build a base for a building that big. That's one huge structure. Joshua even goes so far to tell you that it took a year to get to the top of the thing.